scrolls recipe.
Sorry, just need to interrupt and start recording.
That's okay, no worries. And I'm actually just going to scroll down on my screen and just pass this first step because I want to get the dough ready. So I'm going to go, I'm not sure if you can see that, but I'm going to go directly to the dough part of the recipe. So you can scroll down and click on the step where you want to start, which is really handy. Put you guys back up there. So first up, because the scales, for those of you who aren't owners or who haven't seen the Thermomix in action, the scales are actually built into the bottom of the machine. So I've just teared them off and I'm going to pop in 300 grams of water. This is not pre-measured out. Oh yeah, thought I might go over. That's okay. Next up, I'm going to put in 2 teaspoons of yeast. I'm just using the Edmonds yeast. You can use the sachets as well, but I find that I use so much yeast that it's easier buying it in bigger lots. Next up, I'm going to put in 20 grams of olive oil. So again, that's just going to weigh it in as I go. For those of you who are owners, I'd love you to pop into the chat box what type of like breads or doughs that you guys have been making, because it gives us some inspiration as well. Next up, so just some sea salt. And I'm going to pop the lid on and it's going to heat up to, gosh, that's really terrible lighting. Sorry, guys. 2 minutes. 37 degrees, which is what is going to activate the yeast, and round on speed 1. So I often make this recipe or this dough part of the recipe, and then I just put whatever toppings I like. My kids quite like Marmite and cheese, which is really cost effective when you make it yourself. But tonight we're spicing things up a wee bit.
And what are you putting on your pizza scrolls tonight, Andrea?
So I'm going to show you shortly that I'm going to swap to another recipe that I was going to make from the beginning. And it's going to be the pizza pinwheel recipe. So I guess the difference between this dough and the pizza pinwheel dough is that this actually makes a larger portion of dough. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to halve it and put half in the freezer and use half tonight.
So this is a great tip. So when you then get your dough, do you put it in the freezer before you prove it or after you prove it?
Before I prove it, normally.
Yeah. And then you get it out of the freezer and then let it prove a bit before you...
Yeah, so I bring it up to room temperature and then I leave it up like for a little bit longer. So often what I'll do, because I make scrolls every single week, my girls just love them as an alternative to a sandwich. What I'll do is I'll just pull it out on a, like a Saturday evening, and then Sunday afternoon I am making scrolls.
Yeah, that is so good. It's so handy with those kind of little tips and tricks too. And have you calculated how much you actually would save on making your own pizza scrolls compared to buying them, say, at the supermarket? I
have. I don't have that figure on me right now. It's on my social media, but I can get that because it's crazy the amount that scrolls, like just Marmite and cheese scrolls, which is not what I'm making tonight, but Marmite and cheese scrolls or Vegemite if you're a Vegemite fan. It saves you so much money. It's like $5.49 for a pack of 4 at the supermarket. And I'll come back to you with what it costs to make a pack of 12. Cool, so that has activated the yeast. And I'm just going to pop in about 500 grams of baker's flour, which is high-grade flour and what they call a high-grade flour in New Zealand. And nearly there. Here we go. And then what I'm going to do is pop the lid on again. Oops, too far. And that's going to mix it for 5 seconds on speed 5, just to put it all together. So before I put the flour in, it was basically just water, a yeast and oil. So I couldn't show you what that looked like. Now I can show you what 5 seconds of mixing looks like. And we're just going to keep that lid in. And that is going to knead for 1 minute. Now kneading in the Thermomix, if you were to do it by hand, it's 10 minutes per 2 minutes. So it would take quite a bit of time for other specialty breeds. But this is so easy. And with my glider board, it means I can actually walk away and, you know, tend to the children or unload my dishwasher or something like that.
100%. That kind of brings us on to what is the gift with purchase currently if someone decides to jump the gun and invest and buy a Thermomix and make their life easier?
Yeah, it is amazing at the moment. So you can still purchase the black Thermomix or the white one if you prefer, and you get the glider board, either white or black, depending on what colour you purchase. So you get the glider board for free, as well as a thermoserver. Now, it's not the round thermoserver like this one. It's the oval 2.5 litre thermoserver. And thermoservers are great. I'm about to put the dough into here to prove, but it will keep, alternatively, it keeps food hot for up to 2 hours and cold for up to 1 hour. So absolutely fantastic for when you're entertaining or even just midweek meal.
100%.
If somebody's coming home late.
Yeah, we've got a surfer living in my house and he's often late home for dinner, so it's been a lifesaver for us. Amazing.
That is the kneaded dough, so that is just going to go into my thermoserver. If you don't have a thermoserver and you are an owner, you can get them as a host reward, but you can also use the dough mats to prove as well. So which also is a host reward, but either way, you can prove your dough in those.
That's amazing. All right, so you're going to let your dough prove that. So you're using the normal pizza dough. Is that the recipe you've jumped into, Andrea?
No, but you can use the standard pizza dough recipe.
So which
I'm actually using the spinach and 3 cheese scroll part of the recipe, which is what I use every single week, and it never fails me. But actually, the pizza dough would be a lot quicker. I might have to do that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many amazing
into a bowl and into my thermoserver just to prove, and we will see you shortly.
Yeah, fabulous. Thank you so much. Right, we're going to move up the country now to the North Island, to Tim's, aren't we? Hi, Dhenby.
Hello. Welcome to my kitchen.
Yeah, so nice to come and visit you on a Thursday night. What are you cooking for us tonight? Yeah.
Tonight we're going to be cooking curry chicken salad wraps, which we have actually had for dinner tonight because I've pre-made the recipe, just because I hadn't actually cooked it before, and that's what I really love about doing these classes is as a consultant I'm constantly learning. So yeah, we had them for dinner tonight and they were amazing, so I'm really excited to show you lovelies how you can make these in your kitchens. So I've got the recipe preloaded on my machine and we're going to click start cooking. Here we go. And so the first step is adding 500 grams of water, which I'm going to pop in here. And as Andrea said before, the scale within the machine does all the work, so it's really handy to just add all your ingredients and without having to pre-measure and create more dishes and whatnot. So I've got 500 grams of water there. And so the next step is asking me to place the Varoma dish into position on top of the Thermomix. So the Varoma is where we do a lot of our steaming from the water beneath, and we steam at 120 degrees, and that's what we call Varoma heat. But the Thermomix actually does have a high heat function, which is 160 degrees, and that's where we do a lot of our caramels or our sauteed onions, which is a really handy feature.
So how much chicken have you got in your Varoma? Sorry?
So that'll be the next step that's coming through.
Right,
so no, that's all good. I have pre-put it already in here, but so the next step is to add 500 grams of skinless chicken thighs fillets cut into thirds. So I've already got those in there. Within the aroma, this is actually the middle tray. It has lots of holes through it, so all of the steam actually transfers up. It's also really amazing that we've got multiple layers and levels, because that creates the potential of creating layered cooking. So I'm cooking chicken tonight, but you could also have this second layer on top and have some vegetables. You can steam noodles, udon noodles and things like that to add to your recipes.
And do you have your
really awesome.
Do you have your simmering basket handy? Because this is actually, in this particular recipe, you could actually also pop some rice into the Thermomix in that simmering basket, couldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
You wanted to have rice with your curried wraps.
Yeah, so this simmering basket to do the rice, for those that don't have a machine, would sit, so the water will be beneath, and then my simmering basket will be on top, then my lid and my aroma. So that's where that layered cooking and that time efficiency comes in. It's really amazing. And you've always got the most fluffy, beautiful rice that's not overcooked or burnt to the bottom of the pot.
100%.
Was the story of my life before I got the Thermomix. Constantly forgetting food. So we're going to click through it. And so this is actually going to steam and cook for 25 minutes, as I said, at that 120 degrees. So I think you guys are going to pop off and see one of the other girls while this starts cooking, and I will be back soon.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That's fabulous. We'll be back to you shortly. So now we're heading back to Christchurch and to Rebecca's kitchen. There's so many people on here. Struggling to find you now, Rebecca. So if you pop off mute and say hi, then surely I'll find you.
Hi.
Hi. Fabulous. What are you cooking for us today?
So I'm doing some mixed nut cereal bars or muesli bars. So this is a great alternative to buying store-bought muesli bars.
Amazing.
And I actually pre-made the muesli as well yesterday. So I had a look at the supermarket and was actually quite horrified at the price of muesli. And I thought, actually, I've got most of the ingredients. I'll just whip some up, and it's worked out really well.
Yeah, muesli is such a big saver, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, wondering if anyone in the chat, those of you who've got Thermomixes who are on here, if you'd pop in the chat any of your favorite muesli bar recipes, we'd be super grateful, because that's always fun to learn and see what hi Sophia, what you guys are making. So yeah, this is one of my favorite recipes as well. So I'm chuffed that you're doing this, Rebecca.
Cool. So the first step is to grease and line your tray with some baking paper. So I'm not going to bother to grease it. I think that's just a little bit overkill. So I've just put some baking paper into the dish. Put that out of the way. All right, so next. So it's asking for 100 grams of whole mixed nuts. So you just use whatever you've got, but it's suggesting hazelnuts, almonds, or walnuts. So we've just got a mixture of hazelnuts and almonds.
And this is such a cool, because I'm allergic to nuts. I can eat almonds, but in this recipe, obviously, I normally use just almonds and different seeds. So it's so good. They can just, or lots of schools these days don't allow nuts as well.
Yes, that's right. So you could swap some seeds in, eh?
Yeah, 100%.
Right, so that's just going to chop them. Now this is really loud, but I don't think the sound's going to come through. So we've got 5 seconds on speed 5, and if you wanted to, you could have a look at it and see if you weren't happy with that texture, if you wanted it a bit finer, you know, for younger kids or something like that, you could just go back a step and redo it. So I'll go for 5 seconds and see how it looks.
Fabulous. And just cool with some like walnuts or some of those nuts that are not so hard as well, then you can do a little bit less. But yeah, that was quick.
Right. So I could really hear the power of the blades then. I was just about ready to cover my ears, but you can see how well that's chopped those up.
That's amazing. In 5 seconds.
that's quite a good texture, because I think with commercial muesli bars you do often get a chunky, bits of finer chopped nuts as well as chunkier bits. So it's quite good. So the next step is transfer to a large bowl and set aside. And I really love these steps because it's so good for keeping you focused. I do find that I often, will get interrupted by the kids or lose my train of thought and just sort of get a bit distracted. So it's really great for keeping me on task.
100%. And it is great if something happens and one child is trying to strangle the other, then you can actually just safely just leave and deal with that and come back to it.
Exactly. So good. Right. So the next step is to there we go. So 250 grams of muesli. So that's the one that I had made, and honestly, it's so good. You wouldn't know that it was homemade, like it just tastes exactly like commercial muesli.
You probably saved yourself about $30 making muesli.
Yes, so much money.
Yeah.
All right, now this step here, it's actually asking us to chop this for 3 minutes on speed 3. So I have just pre-chopped it a little bit, so I'm just going to do another 20 seconds, just so we get the idea.
Fabulous. And you guys won't be able to hear it as well because the Zoom kind of cuts out a little bit of the noise, but it's incredible when you're with the machine just how powerful it is when it's chopping all sorts of different things, everything from parmesan to nuts, and I've never had my Thermomix struggle with anything. And one of the other cool things to make is nut butters as well. It's one of those things that the Thermomix does super easily. Fabulous.
Right, so that is quite a nice fine texture now. So again, if you wanted it a bit finer, you could easily chop it for longer, but I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to pop that in this big bowl with these other ingredients. Oh. Right, so next we are going to chop some dark chocolate. So 70 grams of the buttons. All right, and 5 seconds on speed 5. So I found when I made it earlier that speed 5 wasn't quite high enough because the chocolate that I've used is a little bit chunkier than what the recipe's been made for. So I'm just going to go up to speed 7. So it is possible to go past the preset speed. So when you're using guided cooking, you just continue after the fact and it will carry on. So I'll just go to speed 7.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing because when you go around with the dial, it will automatically stop at 5 now, but Rebecca can then actually just override it and go another couple of steps to get up to speed 7. So you're always kind of in full control, which I love as well.
So that's chopped that up really well. So
that looks perfect.
So that goes into the bowl now as well with the nuts and the muesli.
Fabulous.
Sweet. So the next step is we're going to melt together some honey and some butter. I'll just zero that off. So 100 grams of honey. And then 80 grams of diced butter. So I think you could probably sub that for coconut oil if you needed.
Yeah, 100%.
If you didn't have butter, or if you were making dairy-free, I suppose with dairy-free chocolate as well. Do it that way.
Yes, absolutely.
So now that's going to go for, That's going to go for 5 minutes at speed 3.
Amazing. And this, I do think this, because I don't know if you guys in the chat, whether you do any, when you're tempering chocolate, that's one of those things that's always a little bit tricky, and you need to do it over a water bath, and you can't really leave it. And it's always hard because then you've got this water bath on the stove with a kind of a glass or a stainless steel bowl on top, and they're really hot and hard to move. And I always make a mess or burn myself when I try and do melt chocolate. So I've found this an amazing part of the Thermomix, that it just tempers chocolate to that 50 or 60 degrees, whatever the recipe calls for. But with that precision engineering, it's never going to go over it. It's always going to be exactly at that temperature that is just right. So while Rebecca is doing that, I'm just going to pop back into our PowerPoint presentation, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about cookie dough. So cookie dough really is, part of the secret sauce with Thermomix. Anyone who doesn't have a Thermomix yet, you can hop on cookiedough.co.nz and sign up for, or it says .com.au here, but if you just do cookiedough.com.nz, or you'll automatically be taken to the New Zealand website, you can sign up for a 30-day free trial where you just go and have a wee nosy, check out what it's all about, and see what is happening on there and find some recipes of your own. When you buy a Thermomix, you get 6 months for free, and after that you're going to pay $69 a year for your cookie dough subscription. So it's equivalent to 1 or 2 cookbooks a year. That I know definitely I used to buy more than 2 cookbooks a year, so definitely. And I think it's really in the cookie dough that you'll be able to meal plan and save those recipes and create shopping lists. That is, that's where a lot of the money savings with Thermomix really lies, when you actually get away from those last minute decisions and food plan for a week and make really good healthy meals. I'm going to show you a little video here as well, which is just under a minute, about cookie dough, so you get a little bit of an idea of what it looks like. Yes. So yeah, definitely go and have a wee nosy at cookie dough and check that out. So I just wanted to add a little bit of a slide on saving money with Thermomix. We hear all over the news about this cost of living crisis that we're in the middle of at the moment, and I think the objection to getting a Thermomix for most people is around the investment. So a Thermomix is $26.99. But you will save, it will pay for itself within 12 to 18 months for most families. So here we've actually got on our website a Thermomix savings calculator. And I did this earlier today for what I used to buy before I had my Thermomix. And that was about $165 a month that I spent on, all sorts of different things. Alternative milks was one thing. And there's lots of bread and pizza bases and those kind of things, which I now make myself super simply with my Thermomix. So go and check that one out on our website if you're, kind of throwing out whether a Thermomix is the right choice for you. And here you can see some examples. Oh, actually, Andrea, here we've got your cheese scrolls. So just about the same as you can make on some normal staples. An average owner saves about $40 a week at least. I have customers who save, over $100 a week on their groceries by food planning with cookie dough and using the Thermomixes instead of buying takeaways and buying lots of extra unnecessary things at the supermarket. So here we go. So Thermomix is $26.99. Everything that you need with your Thermomix is included in that price. So you'll see all the bits and bobs on the screen now, and everything that the girls are using except the thermo servers. are included with your price, and there's not even shipping on top of that. So it's an investment, but definitely one that pays itself off. So there's a few different payment options. One of them being the way to just pay it all in one go via a card or a bank transfer. You can also use one of our payment plans, which is zip interest-free, where you can get a Thermomix for about $27 a week. Or we can use our EC3, where you split the payment in 3 over a couple of months. So you do a down payment, then 30 days later, a second payment, and then after 60 days, you do the final payment. Or the best way to get a Thermomix is definitely jump on board the team and earn a free Thermomix. I'm one of these accidental Thermomix consultants. I was only joining the team to earn my Thermomix because my hubby said a firm no to getting a Thermomix. So I figured that the loophole was that if it was free, then he actually had nothing to say no to. And then I happened to love it. And here I am 3.5 years later. So such an awesome, it's the best decision I ever made to jump on board and give it a go and earn my Thermomix. Right, Rebecca, where are we at?
Right, so that's finished melting. So what we're going to do now is just
Fabulous.
we're just going to add it in to the box. Perfect. And now we're just going to give that a bit of a mix. So that's quite a sticky mixture. That's all going to hold together nicely. So I'm just going to pop that into the dish with the baking paper. Right, and just spread it out. Push it down, and then it's going to go into the fridge. The recipe asks for an hour in the fridge, but if you were pushed for time, you could go 20 minutes in the freezer. I think that would be good. Right.
Work.
So I'll just put that over here. Now the next step is just we're going to pop some chocolate on to melt. I just want to show you a really quick trick. If you were, because there we go. So we've done that, fill in the fridge. Clean mixing bowl. So if you're halfway through a recipe and you do only have the one mixing bowl, you can fill your bowl up to 1 litre with warm water and 1 drop of dish liquid.
Yeah, this is the way I always just quickly clean it.
Yes, I've learnt this from you, so thank you.
Yeah, oh, good.
It's taking me a lot of time washing up. So lid on, and then I'm just going to say 8 seconds.
Yeah, speed 10 for 10 seconds. That's how I wash my bowl, because I've got zero patience. Nothing is ever fast enough for me. So I don't have the patience to do the pre-clean, because the Thermomix, for those who don't know, the Thermomix actually cleans itself. So you don't actually even, there's a full cleaning program. So you put water in, but it takes about 5 minutes, and I never have 5 minutes to wait. So I normally just do it like this, and it works so well. Yeah, and then a quick little swig around, and
put a quick wash with the brush, rinse out the bubbles. There we go. And that's ready to roll.
Fabulous.
Right, so I'm just going to melt together some chocolate with some butter, just for the topping. So I'm just going to click back here. It's kept a bookmark for me where I was up to. So clean the bowl. So now I'm going to put the chocolate in.
This is so fabulous how it tells you literally every step of the way. You don't really need to think for yourself much at all.
No, and I love that.
You don't want to, yeah.
Thinking's hard. Oh. And then it's 50 grams of butter. and 150
I'll
of.
just
Oh, so put the lid on, and that's going to take about 6 minutes. 3 minutes. So do you want to come back to me?
Yeah.
And I'll finish it off.
Fabulous. Thank you very much. So I'm wondering, Dhenby, how are we going up in the Coromandel?
Yeah, perfect timing.
Oh, look at that.
Couldn't have planned it better. So, what it is asking me now that we've finished cooking and steaming, and it's asking me to remove the aroma and transfer cooked chicken into a plate. And I'm just going to have to wait a little while again because I need this to cool down before we go on with the next steps and start shredding it.
Perfect. That is awesome. Okay, I'm just gonna, while you let that cook, well, because I think it says in the recipe to cool it for 15 minutes, but it's enough to just let it cool for probably, you know, because I love this recipe, and you know, with the no patience thing, I normally let it cool for a couple of minutes, just enough kind of so that it's not like super hot. So if it's as cold as it is in Christchurch, then if you put it outside for 2 minutes, it's probably going to be cold enough to carry on. Okay, I'm just going to carry on and show you a couple of more things before we get back into the cooking. If you have any questions around the payment methods, just get in touch with your consultant or ask any questions in the chat, and Jess can help us answer any questions. But I couldn't recommend enough just having a look at really considering earning a Thermomix, because there is no better way to get a Thermomix on your bench than joining the team, having a bit of fun on the side as well. If you sell 3 machines in 60 days, your machine is half paid off. So then there's, you know, half of it already done. If you sell 6 in 60 days, your machine is completely free. And just like in the 3.5 years I've been a consultant, I've so far earned 5 free Thermomixes, a couple of trips and a couple of vacuums. So there's just so much on the table as well. All right, so I just want to go through the current offers that we've got on the table at the moment. As a gift with purchase with your Thermomix, you can choose either between the limited edition black Thermomix, which we are on the last lot of that one at the moment, or the white one. You will get, if you choose the white Thermomix, you'll get a white glider board and a silver oval thermo server. If you choose the black Thermomix, you'll get a black glider board and the special edition black oval thermo server. These ones are absolutely fabulous. And we also have a limited time host reward at the moment, which is a 12-month cookie dough subscription, which you can choose. You can still choose the thermo service and the baking mats and those kind of things as well, but that's just an extra offer. So amazing for anyone who is an owner who's had their Thermomix for a while and might just want to sneak in a bit of a free cookie dough subscription. And if you decide to join us and earn your TM6, the other thing that you actually have at the moment is a half price business kit. So it used to be $150, currently it's $75. And also the upfront deposit has just been halved. So you only pay $420 to join the team at the moment as a deposit on your Thermomix. So it's such a good time. You can get started and get your Thermomix for less than $500 with your business kit as well. So let's, have a chat about that if that is something you potentially would consider. Passion like this doesn't come off the shelf, and this really, I really want to make you all kind of feel how passionate we all are about our Thermomixes and how important it is for us consultants to make sure that you get the most out of your Thermomix. The worst thing that we can have is Thermomix is sitting on benches around the country and not being used. So we're super serious about making sure you get the most out of it. We do cooking experiences as the base of our business. Obviously, sometimes they're virtual like today, but most of them is in person and an in-home cooking demonstration. We come and deliver and unpack and get you cooking with your Thermomix when you first get it. And also we do run cooking classes all around the country. We love our cooking classes in our team. So we do a monthly one here in Christchurch. We've got our little Thames Coromandel outpost as well, which will start running cooking classes by November, which will be amazing. And with your Thermomix, you really can do, there's so much you can do, and we all have different reasons for buying our Thermomix, but we can do all the things like, save lots of time. And like I've seen with the girls cooking, it's all hands-free and they can, put their feet up while the Thermomix is cooking. You can also improve your health, get lots of excitement and new recipes in your kitchen, and also really importantly, lower that grocery bill. Right, let's pop back and see where we're at. Dhenby, should we come back to you and start shredding that chicken, or should we go to?
I can continue on mine.
Perfect. Thank you. Let's do that.
With just the chopping of my ingredients.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you.
So for those of you who are owners, and for those of you who are going to be owners, as you saw before, I was cooking the 3 cheese spinach scrolls. Now, I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's 3 little dots up here, and I'm just going to go cancel recipe because I've got a different set of ingredients that I'm putting in my scrolls. It takes you back to the home screen. Now, if I've done this correctly, if I go into recently cooked, I can see what I've been cooking, and they have little pause buttons on them. So this one here is the one that I have my ingredients for. So I've clicked on that and it says, do you want to resume the recipe or restart it? So I just want to continue on, and it brings me straight up to the part where I need to chop the onions. So
Yes.
really cool, being able to like utilize different parts of different recipes if you require that for whatever you're cooking.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pop in 80 grams of red onion, and I just have kind of quartered that. Oh, that's a good idea. Next up, it's asking for some parsley, and it says like normal curly parsley, but I didn't have that, so I've just got Italian parsley. And then I'm going to pop the lid on and chop that up. Speed 5, 3 seconds. And that is completely
amazing. It never stops to amaze me how well it just chops in just a matter of a few seconds.
Amazing. Now, some recipes, as one of the other ladies was talking about before, says to, oh, these onions are really strong. It says to like clean and dry mixing bowl. This one here we don't have to, so I'm just going to scrape it all out and continue. Oh, full on crying. Don't look in the bowl. And then I'm just going to pop some cheese, which I have just cut up into pieces, which is 150 grams, although I didn't actually weigh this. I just guessed it, 194. Still crying from those onions. And that's going to chop 6 seconds, guys. 6 seconds, speed 7.
Yeah, because who likes grating cheese? No one ever.
Or chopping onions.
Yeah.
If I'm honest.
100%.
So that has grated that up all nicely.
Amazing.
If you need to go to someone else meter, you can do so. I am just going to roll out my dough using the Thermomix mat, which you can get as a host reward. These are fantastic because they've got like pizza circles on them, but they've also got, I'm not sure if you can see, but there's measurements measurements along the bottom. So when you are cutting things like scrolls, you can get them quite even.
That's fabulous. Yeah, or when a recipe says to roll something out into a square that's like 30 centimeter long, like whoever would bring out a roller?
I know, ever do right? That? Yeah, not me. So this is my dough that I'm just going to tip out, and I'm going to roll out. For those of you who are on a computer, you might be able to see that at the same time as someone else. But
yeah, I'm going to keep you on and just keep the spotlight on, because then people can just see you roll out that if they want to look at what that looks like. And we are going to pop, I reckon, maybe we'll pop back to you, Rebecca. I feel like And we'll just finish off these muesli bars.
Sounds good. All right, so I've got my melted chocolate and butter mixture in here. So this will create like quite a thick chocolate coating on the top. But if you wanted to have less chocolate, you could easily use less and do a bit of a drizzle over the top, or just at that point where you are about to put them into the fridge, you could just press some chocolate chips onto the top.
Yeah, 100%. And you could really, it's really your imagination that puts, like you could add in whatever, like some, in some of the muesli bars I know that they have at the supermarket, there's obviously, 100,000 or whatever in them. Like you could make it your own if you wanted to add anything.
So I'm just going to spread that out on the top.
These are the bomb, these muesli bars.
So yummy. So that's all done, and now that's just going to go into the fridge for another hour, or if you were, a little bit pressed on time, you could put it in the freezer to hurry it up, but just try not to forget about it.
Yeah, it is easy to forget about it. Amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, pop that in the freezer and hopefully we'll be able to cut it shortly, maybe.
Oh.
That is fabulous. Let's pop back to the coromandel now. Dhenby, where are you? You are.
Hello.
Hello.
Perfect. Cool. So we're gonna carry on with our chicken curry wraps. So my chicken has cooled down, and now it is asking me to place the reserved chicken. So it's really like chunky. So it's quite amazing how shredded within 10 seconds it can go. Like if you think about having to pull chicken apart, if you were doing it manually, the time efficiency that Thermomix creates is just my best friend, really. Yeah. So I'm going to place that all into the Thermomix clip next, and I'm going to prompting me to put my lid up next. And as I said, 10 seconds, and it's asking me to go to speed selector 4.
And I'm going to assume here, but I am pretty sure that the blades now, what it will tell Dhenby to do automatically is that the blades will be in reverse. So there's a little blade under the speed on that circle, where she's choosing the speed. There's a little blade for those of you who have Thermomixes, and that means that it's leading with the sharp side. When we're pulling any meat, so like with this chicken, it's got automatically a little reverse. So it's actually leading with the blunt side, pulling the chicken rather than chopping it up. So it makes a huge difference in the consistency. And it's just, you don't even need to think about it. It does it automatically.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what it did.
Yeah. Give us a look.
So now my chicken is all shredded in 10 seconds. Now I've used thigh this time, and earlier with the family I used breast, and it worked just as beautifully. A little bit drier, but we are going to be adding mayonnaise. So if you don't have thigh, I can confirm breast was absolutely fine as well. So transfer that into a bowl and set aside. So here we go. And it makes quite a lot. Like that was 500 grams. And that's what's really amazing about the Thermomix. And a chef like me, I'm quite a gluttonous chef. Like I will throw in a whole onion, or if I've got a pack of 700 grams or a kilo of mince or chicken, I just chop it all up because I couldn't be bothered putting it in a container and spreading it out. So the guided cooking and sticking to a recipe is where I've started saving all of my money. Just grabbing my handy dandy spatula. It's a bit goofy, but this is actually my favorite part of the Thermomix. It just how well thought out it is for those that are owners. It's really geeky, but it's just geeky. Yeah. It's just, I love things that are thought out, and yeah,
it is that German engineering. We've got any Germans on here. I say every demo just how clever the Germans are, and engineering very thought through solutions.
And for those that don't actually have a machine, that might not actually make that much sense. So I'm going to explain why I'm a bit geeky. So like on this spatula, it's got the ring around it. So if you put it on here, a pet peeve of mine is my spatula touching the bench or things like that. And with that steaming basket we were talking about earlier, there's a little hook on it. I don't know if you'll be able to see that now that I put it up against the wall. And so when you're doing your rice and it's super hot, it clicks into it. It's just,
yeah,
it's so clever.
So very clever. And the other thing is that stopper or skirt that's on it. It also means that we can pop it into the bowl without hitting the blades if we've got the lid on.
Yeah, like it stops it to,
yeah,
really hard to see on my window.
So it could never hit the blades, which is also pretty cool.
Yeah. We've gone down a really wide side track there, but now back to why we're here.
Yeah.
So we're gonna pop in 8 sprigs of coriander. I didn't have coriander, so I've adapted it and I've put parsley, Italian parsley, but both are just as beautiful. Leaves only. Next step, adding in some spring onion. These bamboo bowls are actually also from the mix shop, so there's a huge array of really beautiful accessories that can be purchased in the mix shop, which is all Thermomix. So we're going to throw those in. And I've got some toasted pine nuts that I'm going to throw in there. 50 grams. It does call for raisins, and I have adapted it because I just don't really like that. It does also say they're optional. In the recipe, when you scroll down to the bottom, it will have all your nutritional facts, and it'll have like adaptions and different tips and things like that. And it actually did say, so for people that are like tracking their macros and like carbs and things like that, it did actually say if you are like that, leave the raisins out because it's less carbs. Not that I ever knew that raisins were high in carbs, but another really fun fact for you.
Yes, 100%. We learn every day.
Cool. So now it is asking me to all in my bowl, and it's going to chop it up. Here we go. So this is going to be 3 seconds at speed 5. Oh my goodness, it smells delicious. So that's all chopped up. And now it is prompting me to add mayonnaise. This is actually mayonnaise that I have also made in the Thermomix. It's the cooked mayonnaise, which is a really really epic recipe. With the recipe that I made earlier with the family, I didn't actually have enough mayonnaise, so I used like the whole recipe for it. I used Greek yogurt, and then I just adapted it, which is kind of a really fun way if you want to add a few more flavors. Like you could add pesto, sweet chili sauce. I added a bit of tomato relish that I had. So yeah, you can just go wild with these recipes, really. But now I'm adding what I should have been adding, the mayonnaise, 200 grams.
That's the thing too. Like if you're tracking your calories and you want to have a little bit less, of that, and you can just use less or do what you said and use yogurt instead.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I'm going to be adding curry powder. 2 teaspoons of curry powder. 1, 2. And then half a teaspoon of turmeric.
Some awesome anti-inflammatories in there.
Yeah, and it adds such a beautiful color to the mayonnaise and chicken once it mixes it all up. So now I'm adding half a teaspoon of salt, a bit of pepper in there. And now I'm going to be adding back my reserved chicken. This would be such, it's wraps that we're making tonight, but that's where there's, endless opportunity. It would be a really beautiful recipe with club sandwiches and cucumber. It would be beautiful.
True.
So that's what I think I'll be trying next. So we're going to pop the lid on, and we're just going to mix this on speed 1, and like Meta mentioned, it's also going to be reverse blade for 20 seconds.
Fabulous. While you're doing that, we're just gonna, honestly, Andrea, I've never seen such neat scrolls in my life.
Oh, I've learned a new trick, Meta.
Yeah,
so
please tell me.
I often find that when I roll the dough out, it's all like skewer and not square, and I've never been able to work it out. But because I'm using my dough mat, if you pull your dough mat, so once you've rolled your dough out with nothing on it, if you pull your dough mat end over to the shallowest part and then squash it down with your rolling pin, it makes it square. So this means that I'm going to get more scrolls, and they're going to be straight, and it's going to be fantastic. So
mind blown. Absolutely
mind blown. Great for crackers too, apparently.
Oh yeah, I actually do it for my crackers, but just not with pizza dough. I can't be bothered. Just
wow.
Wow. But
it's
I can't wait to see.
Patience thing, isn't it?
I know it is. You're doing such a great job. All right, back to Coromandel.
My God, goodness, I love this. I feel like I'm on a radio show calling in from Coromandel. So that is us done. It was so quick and easy. And those pine nuts, oh, they just smell amazing. So that's all in there. Earlier on, within the picture on the recipe, calls for a recipe that's actually in cookie dough, but I haven't actually made many wraps. So if there's anyone on tonight that has got a wrap recipe that they've used within cookie dough, or even a wrap recipe that they really love that isn't, we can actually adapt it to the machine in created recipes. So let us know if you do have a really, really awesome wrap recipe, because I would love to try and adapt that or use one of the cookie dough ones. But tonight I've made what were they called? They were the grain-free, dairy-free wraps. Super, super easy to make and really fun and fluffy. They've got psyllium husk, a couple of eggs, a little bit of oil, and coconut flour. So that's what I'm using tonight. But as I said, you could make anything really. You can make club sandwiches with them. It doesn't even have to be wraps. I'm going to put one of those over there, but I'm just going to roll this.
Normally serve this with either with a salad, with a super quick broccoli salad.
Oh yeah, that would be delicious.
As well. Or I'm a bit of a fan of making my own baguettes, and they will go well with those as well.
Now you're talking.
Yeah, no.
I haven't made baguettes yet.
Oh, you need to. Ooh. They're amazing and so easy.
And it's a cookie dough recipe?
Yeah.
Obviously. Yum.
I know.
I just heard that it's actually 94,000 recipes we're up to with cookie dough. Isn't that amazing?
It is amazing. So much. Oh, look at that wrap.
Now we have our cute little wrap.
Beautiful. Right, so Andrea's got hers on the tray. I'm just going to finish off my little PowerPoint. I've only got a page left, and then we're going to say goodnight to you all. So to just finish off, actually I'm already finished my presentation. Big thank you to all of you hopping on. If you want to follow any of the girls on socials, so you can take a screenshot of this if you want. So Jess, who's been manning our chat box tonight, she's got an awesome Instagram all around gluten-free food, because she's gluten-free, so that's awesome to check out. If you want to see the scrolls being done, then definitely go and like Andrea's Instagram, because I am sure she's going to post that a little bit later tonight. And then Rebecca, she's got an awesome Facebook page, Mix and Save, so go and check that out as well. So thank you so much for hopping on tonight, and make sure you get back in touch with your consultant who got you on here tonight. If you need a hand with anything, please just let me know, and I'm more than happy to help or find someone to help you. So girls, should I spotlight all of you, and we can all pop our things on? Oh yeah, I'm so hungry. Yes, like I just had dinner before. Oh, they look so good.
They smell divine.
Yes, and like the cool thing is you could easily, if you don't like curry, you could just do something else, you know?
Yeah.
So many
Smoked
things.
paprika would be amazing. Ooh.
Yes, that would be. Right, let's add here and Rebecca, you are there. Oh my God, they look amazing.
Look at that chocolate layer. So good.
Yes.
Yum.
If you wanted to be real fancy, you could do like white chocolate and just like, you know, do a wee on top as well.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh, thanks, guys. That was fabulous. We need your scrolls are ready for the oven now, Andrea. How long are they going to go in the oven for? About 20 minutes. Yeah, I can't hear you, but I can read your mind.
I didn't know you muted me. Yeah, 20 minutes in the oven and they'll be good to go.
Amazing.
They smell delicious and they're not even cooked.
I know, so good. Yeah, they look like all out. Right, I need to try and take a wee screenshot, girls. So can we hold up our things? Should I put hang on, just wait a second. Maybe I need to get myself in there as well. Don't want to miss out on all the fun.
Put my 30
Right. Okay, I'm going to take a screenshot now. No one close their eyes. Jess. Fabulous. So nice. Right, I hope everyone learned something tonight, because that is what it's all about. Fantastic. Now, this is the downside when you're running the Zoom, because then there's nothing to eat now in my house.
My girls are going to love these scrolls tomorrow.
Oh, they will. They're such lucky little kiddos.
And I just find scrolls really good because you can put anything in them. Like the chicken tonight, so I put chicken in these scrolls tonight, and it can be leftover chicken, like from a roast or whatever. So yeah, really good.